Project Looking Glass was a government operation to serve the elite class, to look into the future for the purposes of orchestrating the current state of being to shape whatever future they wanted. They could control the variables once they viewed the future to ensure that certain outcomes played out. But what they saw horrified them. They did not like what they saw in the future. And no matter how they tried to manipulate it, there was no future outcome that served them. What they saw was all possible timelines led to a convergence. Meaning that no matter what timeline they rode, no matter what option, there was only one outcome. And that outcome is light wins, and the ruling elite class is exposed and destroyed. That's what they saw that terrified them. And they tried and tried to punch as many holes through time and space as they could. That is what is going on with CERN. Trying to orchestrate or work out some other outcome. But there is no other outcome. There is no other outcome, is the problem. But what we are living through now, this chaos that we're living through now, is their final attempt to maintain control. These are their death rattles, because it is all falling apart and there is nothing they can do about it. And they already knew, they already saw this was coming. So it's sort of a no holds bar fight now. They have nothing to lose. And they have to try everything they can think of. But there is no workaround to this situation because light wins.
Shalom. I want to start off by giving all glory and honor to YAHAWAH, BAHASHEM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHEM Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. I'm the brother Manatazak with GMS Ancient of Days in Los Angeles, currently teaching with the Akim in Sherman Oaks. And today through the Spirit, I want to get into a lesson that's titled ESAU and Project Looking Glass. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't know, Project Looking Glass, I'm going to read the definition just to give you a little context for this lesson, is a widely discussed, alleged secret project that's often linked to the CIA or military intelligence. Okay, now Project Looking Glass is designed as a quote unquote time viewer. Okay, where basically the elites are using this machine, their technology, to observe, predict, and manipulate future events and timelines. Okay, now this is all speculation, but we know ESAU Edom, the heart of his wickedness runs deep, and he's ultimately trying to find a way to offset prophecy, which we know is impossible, cannot be done. Okay, continuing on, Project Looking Glass is described as a device that allows users to see potential future scenarios. Okay, and as you heard from the lady in the beginning, one of the workers, there's only so far ESAU Edom can get. In every scenario that they looked at, she explained, came to a converging point where no matter what they did or what they tried, it always ended up with them being taken down and the light winning. Okay, the light, that's the elect. That's YAHAWASHI, and the elect eventually winning. As the scriptures say, Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. We are in the end of ESAU Edom's rulership, and he knows it. That's why the scriptures say great fear fell upon him and all that saw when the Lord raised up his army, his prophets. Okay, ESAU Edom knows who has the truth, and he knows that he has but a short time. And these are some very exciting times that we're entering into, especially considering the recent war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. This is major Bible prophecy. Okay, so ESAU Edom, as we know through the scriptures, who is the so-called white man, is giving a set window of domination. Okay, it is not meant for him to be a perpetual ruler over the Israelites. Okay, our punishment is almost up, and once we are put into the seat of power, we're never going to go down. Okay, and that is what he fears. The Most High YAHAWASHI is not impressed by timelines, machines, or elites that squint at prophecy. Okay, because ultimately everything is ordained by the will of the Heavenly Father alone. Okay, the end was already declared from the beginning, and ESAU Edom is about to find out the hard way. So with that being said, Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect. We're going to begin with Genesis 27. Okay, ESAU Edom has an appointed time of rule, and that was established all the way back in the book of Genesis. So we'll get that, Genesis 27, beginning at verse 39. And it reads, when Isaac his father answered and said unto him, actually, I'll begin at verse 36, because this is going after the account where Jacob supplanted Esau. This is Genesis 27 and 36, and it reads, and he said, this that he being Esau, is not he rightly named Jacob? Okay, because Esau's name was Ishashua. Okay, meaning wasted away. What was wasted away? His pigment. Okay. It says, was he not rightfully named Jacob? Jacob's name is YAHAWAH, which means supplanter. Okay, the names in the scriptures are oftentimes nomen nomens, meaning name predictions. Continuing on, for he hath supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he has taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? So this is basically Esau petitioning to their father Isaac, who was YAHAWASHI in the spirit, okay, saying that Jacob took both his birthright and his blessing, but it was always ordained for that to happen anyway. This was the plan of YAHAWASHI. But in Esau's mind, he's looking at Jacob, who became the progenitor of the Israelites, as the villain, okay? He's looking at us as we stole something that rightfully belonged to him. But YAHAWASHI ordained the blessings. He ordained the birthright to always go to Jacob. Okay? Verse 37, and Isaac answered and said unto Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have I given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do Now unto thee, my son. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. So Esau Edom's blessing was the fatness of the earth and the dew from the heaven above. Okay, and does he not have primary dominion over the globe? He's the only country with an embassy, a U.S. embassy in every other country. Okay, and the scriptures specify by saying he would have the dew of heaven from above. Okay, the dew of heaven. There's an actual weapon, DEW, direct energy weapons that Esau Edom has, where he rains down lasers. Okay, from the upper atmosphere. Okay, and verse 40 is going to bring it all together and prove it. Verse 40, and by thy sword shalt thou live, and thou shalt serve thy brother. He prides himself on his military. And the modern day sword is the gun. He prides himself on his guns and his right to bear arms. Okay, this is Esau Edom, the so-called white man. Okay, it says, and it shall come to pass when thou shalt have dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. Okay, so the reason I brought this out is to show that while Esau is granted dominion, it is granted to him temporarily. Okay, his rule is conditional and time bound, and he's trying to fight against that prophecy. Okay, the blessing itself prophesies both his rise and his fall. Okay, this is not open-ended power. Okay, but you would have the pride of Esau tell you otherwise. And the scriptures speak about that. Okay, let's get Genesis. Let's go back. We'll stay in the book of Genesis. Let's go to Genesis 25, and I'm gonna read verse 23. It says, and the Lord YAHAWASHI said unto her, being Rebekah, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. So yes, although Jacob and Esau were technically twins, from those two twin boys will come two separate nations and two manners of people. Because you'll oftentimes have the argument, well, if Esau is a so-called white man, how did he come from two black parents? You act like that's impossible for the Lord. Okay? Did not different nations of people come from Shem, Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah that survived the flood? But nobody complains about that. So why is it any different that two different nations can come from Jacob and Esau? Just as the 12 tribes, although they belong to one nation, okay, they're technically their own tribe, their own people. Okay? And it's the same here. Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other, and the elder shall serve the younger. So this is letting you know, even before they were born, YAHAWASHI had already ordained that the elder was going to serve the younger, and Esau was the firstborn son. Okay? So this is an example of the end being written at the beginning. No matter how advanced Esau becomes, okay, the outcome is locked. Technology cannot reverse a womb prophecy. Okay, and even before that, it was already ordained in the spirit that this is how it would go down. Okay? And at the end of the day, the Lord YAHAWASHI is the one that appoints kingdom timetables and how long, rulers will be set in power. Because this is ultimately the Most High's movie. And he's in control of all things that take place in our reality. Let's get Daniel 2 and 21 to prove that. Daniel chapter 2, verse 21, it says, and he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings and setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise and knowledge to them that know understanding. Okay? This is the power of the Most High, YAHAWASHI. Rulership is not seized. Okay? It is leased. I'll say that again. Rulership on the earth is not seized. It is leased. And when that lease expires, eviction is immediate. There's no extension clause, especially for Esau Edom. After he goes down now, that's it. He's not going to rule again. And after 1,000 years of servitude, the scriptures prophesy that he is going to be destroyed as a nation. Okay? This is prophecy. This is the nastiness of the scriptures, if you will, that these Christians and apologetics don't like to go into. Even though it's written in the same Bible they claim to believe in. Okay, Amos 3 and 7 says, surely the Most High will do nothing but he revealeth his secrets unto his servants, the prophets. We're bringing it out raw and direct, the bitter and the sweet. We are just messengers. Okay, let's stay in the book of Daniel. Daniel chapter 4, verse 17. It says, this matter is by the decree of the watchers and the demand of the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basis of men. Okay, Esau Edom is known as the basis of men, the border of wickedness. The so-called white man is the lowest of the low when it comes to the 18 nations created by YAHAWASHI. Okay, so Esau ruling is not proof of righteousness. Okay, it is a proof of purchase. And what I mean by that is the Lord raises up even the wicked men to fulfill judgment cycles. Okay, and Esau Edom is known exclusively as the wicked, the border of wickedness, meaning no matter where he goes, wickedness is going to follow, because he is the wicked. He is that proverbial man of sin as a nation. And the Lord YAHAWAH is always punished by nations. Okay, and that's what brought me to the point of bringing out this lesson, Esau and Project Looking Glass, because through all of his technology, and as the scriptures say, thou hast become wiser than Daniel, and in his pride, Esau has looked into the future and he has seen the end, and he's terrified. Okay, let's get that in Obadiah. All right, the book of Obadiah 1 verse 3 and 4. It says, the pride of thine heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, whose habitation is high, and saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord YAHAWASHI. Okay, so Edom knows his altitude. The Lord created a bound that he cannot pass. There's only so high that he could go in the atmosphere, and there's only so low he can go in the depths of the sea. Okay. Esau Edom naturally builds above nations with all of his skyscrapers. Okay, he thinks he's above laws. He thinks he's above morals. Okay. But coincidentally enough, building yourself to such a height only makes, the fall that much louder. And that's why YAHAWASHI says he's going to fall like lightning. It's going to be quick. And we're living in the time now where that prophecy is going to be fulfilled. We are witnessing the downfall of Esau Edom. Okay? And we are witnessing the fulfillment of the final prophecies of the scriptures. Okay, let's get the book of Job, chapter 20, verses 5 and 6. It says, actually, I'll begin at verse 4. It says, knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment? It says, though his excellency mount up to the heavens, and his head reach unto the clouds, yet he shall perish forever like his own dung. They which have seen him shall say, where is he? Whew. So the fact that Esau Edom, the scriptures say that the triumphing of the wicked is short, ultimately his rulership is short in the eyes of eternity, because the Israelites are going to rule in an eternal righteous kingdom. Okay, short doesn't necessarily mean insignificant. Okay, it means limited. Okay, Esau's golden age has an expiration date that's stamped by the heavens. Okay, and we're quickly approaching that time, and all the receipts that he has to pay for, that tab, that bill that he has to pay for, okay, is about to be taken out on him. Okay, he is not going to go unpunished for the things that he has done to the children of Israel. Okay, let's get Isaiah 47. Isaiah chapter 47, verse 13, it says, actually I'll begin at verse 12. It says, stand now with thine enchantments and with the multitude of thy sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from thy youth. If so be, thou shalt be able to profit. If so be, thou mayest prevail. And this is going into all of his different wicked counsels, his technology, Project Looking Glass, all these different failures, and ultimately leading to the CBDC, the MOTB, that charagma, okay, which he's going to unveil soon, okay, to try to show himself the ultimate authority over mankind, particularly the Israelites. But the hopeful elect are not going to fall for that, and the Lord is going to protect those that are his. But this is showing you the depths of this man's wickedness and the pride that he carries. Okay, continuing on in verse 13, it says, thou art weighed in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So the Lord is basically mocking Esau Edom. Okay, and ultimately it's going to the destruction of Babylon, but Babylon is the modern day capital of the Edomites, if you will. This city, this country, which is basically a prison for the Israelites. The Lord is basically mocking them, saying, why don't you put your faith and your trust in all these left-handed means that you use to control the world? But it's going to fail, because his ultimate end is destruction. Verse 14, it says, behold, they shall be as stubble. The fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be a coal to warm at, nor fire to sit before it. Okay, thus it says, thus shall they be unto thee with whom thou hast labored, even thy merchants from thy youth. They shall wander every one to his quarter, none shall save thee. Okay, and this is heavy, because this is a ancient language for futurists, if you will, when it goes into the stargazers and monthly prognosticators. Okay, you could look at that now as, you know, the different analysts and the different seers, okay, of the modern day times, the witches and warlocks that the elites use, the ancient Chaldeans coming back. Okay, the Lord mocks these predictive systems. Okay, he mocks these predictive systems because ultimately he's dealing with his men that are working on the right hand side of the spirit. Actual prophecy, speaking the things that were written before time and telling the secrets of the Lord in truth and sincerity. We don't have to go through left-handed means to get a prophecy or to get a divination. The Lord is what reveals that to us in truth and sincerity in due time. Okay, let's get the book of Habakkuk. Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Okay, the prophecy is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. And we are starting to see that. At the end it shall speak and not lie. All the things the brothers all across the globe, particularly and specifically the men of great millstone, from the apostles and elders on down, we've been telling you about the wars and rumors of wars. We've been telling you about the advancement of technology and the coming of the CBDC. Okay, we've been telling you about the MOTB. We've been telling you about World War III and the missiles and ultimately salvation from the chariots. Okay, we've been a broken record on these highways, hedges, and on the internet, and it's getting to a point now where the Lord is starting to bring these visions to pass. Okay, Habakkuk 2 and 3. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. So though it seems to be prolonged, wait for these things to come to pass. Okay, because they are surely going to come to pass. They are not going to be prolonged. And we are in that season now. Okay, we are in that season now. And this is why the scriptures say that wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of our time, because prophecy, when you have prophecy, there's no need to panic. Esau's panicking because he's at the end of his rulership. But us that have this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, we should be excited because we are entering to the time of our rulership in righteousness. Okay, the vision, the prophecy does not change to accommodate resistance. Okay, you can resist it as much as you want. It's still going to come to pass. Okay, let's get a Malachi 1 and 4. Let's see, book of Malachi, chapter 1, verse 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord YAHAWASHI of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness and the people against whom the Lord YAHAWASHI hath indignation forever. Just proving the point of what I said about Esau, Edom being the border of wickedness, meaning wherever they go, wickedness follows. But they are also the people of whom the Lord cursed them with pure leprosy, but also whom the Lord had indignation forever, meaning righteous judgment, righteous anger. Okay? This verse right here demolishes every reset plan that Esau, Edom has come up with. They can build all they want, but the Lord is going to ultimately demolish them and bring them down. Okay, let's get some precepts in the Apocrypha before we close out. Just to show you that Old Testament, New Testament, okay, and even the Apocrypha speak the same thing when it comes to the judgment of Esau, Edom. So you get 2 Ezra chapter 6, verses 8 and 9. It says, actually, I'll begin at verse 7. 2 Ezra chapter 6, verse 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times, and when shall the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? Okay, so this is basically saying, when's it going to be the end of Esau, Edom's rulership and the beginning of ours to follow? What do we look out for? Okay. Here's the answer, verse 8. And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. That word there for world is eon, meaning an age of rulership. So Esau is the end of a rulership, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Okay? And this is the clearest time marker as far as where we are in prophecy. Okay, Esau's rule coincides with the end of the age and end of rulership. Okay, there is no bypass, there is no sequel, there is no encore. Once Esau Edom is taken down, the Israelites are going to rise up and be in power forever. And this is the point in history where we're at now. All praise to YAHAWASHI for that. Okay, let's get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 5, beginning at the top. And it reads, then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him and made no account of his labors. When they see it, they shall be troubled with terrible fear and shall be amazed at the strangeness of his salvation, so far beyond all that they were looking for. Okay, and this is what's about to take place now. When the chariots, the angels, invade this realm from the heavens, okay, the elites are going to panic. Scriptures say that they are going to see, the righteous vindicated. And they're going to realize that all their calculations were wrong. The elites already know. They're trying to sidestep prophecy. They're trying to redirect prophecy. But you other heathens and you regular, everyday, two-time loser Edomites, you are going to be shocked that those men on the street corners were telling the truth. Verse 3. And they repenting and groaning for anguish of spirit shall say within themselves, this was he whom we had sometimes in derision and a proverb of reproach. All that shit you talked about our people, trying to keep us down and keep us out. Okay, keep us at the bottom of society when we were technically meant to be over you through the Spirit. Then you're going to understand who we really were, and it's all going to make sense. Verse 4, we fools accounted their life madness and his end to be without honor. But on the contrary, we are the most honorable people on the earth, and we are going to be changed to reflect that in eternal righteousness and eternal glory. Verse 5, how is he numbered among the children of the Most High, and his lot among the saints? Okay, that's why there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth when you realize who the so-called Negroes, so-called Hispanics, and so-called Native Americans really were. We are Yasharallah. We are princes of the power. We are the sons of God. We are the chosen nation of the one true living power, YAHAWASHI. And the Lord is about to vindicate us. Okay? Let's end this in Sirach, the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 10, verse 11. It says, for when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. Okay, I'm going to read that again. The book of Sirach, chapter 10, verse 11. Actually, I'll begin at verse 10 just to get the context a little better. It says, the physician cut off a long disease, and he that is today a king tomorrow shall die. For when a man is dead, he shall inherit creeping things, beasts, and worms. Okay, the reason I brought this out is to show that Edom's downfall, okay, begins with him believing that he can outthink the Most High and outlast the Most High. Okay, the Lord is the one that rules in the kingdom of men. Okay, and that long disease that's about to be cut off is ESAU Edom. Okay, he's a king today, but tomorrow he's going to be cut off. Just as the scriptures say, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. One day soon is going to be the last day of ESAU Edom's rulership. And as the scriptures say, the year of his redeemed has come, the year of YAHAWASHI's elect, where we're going to be redeemed from this planet, changed and given new bodies, and ultimately rescued. Okay? The true restitution is upon us. Okay? And this is what scared ESAU Edom, because he saw that no matter what he does from here on out, the end result is the same. They are going to lose, and the Israelites are going to win. So with that, I want to give all glory and honor to YAHAWAH, by Hashem YAHAWASHI, by Hashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect who are continuing to fight and teach this thing of ours in truth and sincerity. This has been your brother Manatazak. Until next lesson, Shalom.